Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan Weiss, and today we are going to go over system ready tests. Do you have a Nissan 240SX, specifically an S14? Are you one of those people who live in a state like California and you need to pass smog? The S14 is notorious for having a hard time passing smog. Do you want to get back on the streets and start doing some skids in your cool JDM Nissan? Well, there's a couple things you need to do in order to do that. And one of them is system ready tests. You're going to run into this issue sooner or later, where your system ready tests aren't up and running. So what are system ready tests? Readiness monitors show when the vehicle has self-tested its emission system. The self-test determines whether these monitors are working or not. So in a 240, there are 5 different readiness monitors that need to be passing in order for you to pass smog. Especially in California, this can be no easy feat. Some of these ready test monitors are known to be a little bit tricky and you have to follow specific patterns. Luckily for you, I'm going to go over those today and you are going to be well on your way. So there is the catalyst monitoring, evap system monitoring, oxygen sensor monitoring, oxygen sensor heating monitoring, and the EGR system monitoring. Now, chances are these tests will need to be performed if the car hasn't been driven in a while, disconnected battery, if you fixed any of the check engine light codes, or there may be other reasons preventing you from passing smog. There are 4 patterns you need to perform to get the system ready test to pass. So I'm going to go over all 4 of them. Now, there are some things to note. You need to do this at least twice. At least. Not 2 times. At least. Because this may take 2 or 3 tries for quite a while in order to get this to pass. For myself, I found it took an hour each day for 3 days to get all of the systems to pass. If you have a code reader, you're going to be able to check the readiness monitors on your own. I myself didn't, so I had to drive to the local smog shop and have them check for me. One more helpful hint is read through the patterns and get to know them. Plan out your route accordingly, because if you can't follow these to the T, you're going to have a hard time. Take a look at this chart and let's go over it. Pattern 1. Start the car and let it idle until the car has warmed up to operating temps. This could be 5 to 10 minutes. Right. By letting the car warm up and idle, this will trip the O2 sensor heaters, the front and the rear sensor. This should be enough to get that monitor to pass. Now, pattern 2. Once the car is warmed up, start from a stop. You're going to accelerate from a stop to about 55 miles an hour. Let go of the gas, let it drop down to 50, then bring it back up immediately to 55, then let it drop back down to 50 and hold it. You're going to have to hold it very precisely at 50 miles an hour for at least 5 minutes. Now, if you mess up, you're going to have to start from a stop again. When you perform pattern 2, this is going to trip the catalyst monitor, and it's also going to trip the O2 sensor front and rear sensor monitors. Pattern 3, you are going to start at a stop. You're going to stop for 10 seconds. You're going to accelerate for 10 seconds up to 30 to 35 miles an hour. Drive at that speed for another 10 seconds, and then slow down to a stop over the course of another 10 seconds. You must repeat pattern 3 at least 3 times. When you move on to pattern 3, this will also check the evap purge flow and monitor, while also checking the EGR system, BPT valve. Now, pattern 4, you start from a stop, you bring it up to 50 to 55 miles an hour, and you drive consistently at that speed for 3 to 5 minutes. This test will only be performed after the car has been driven for at least 12 minutes. Only during pattern 4 will the evap system check for a small leak. Now, you can perform all these tests in order, but it will require some planning ahead of time, because you're going to be going from a stop to driving at about 50 miles an hour consistently for a couple minutes. Then you're going to come back to a stop, and then you're going to be stopping and going for several minutes. Then you're going to be going back to driving on the highway Then you're going to be going back to driving to 50 miles an hour for another couple minutes. If you do this perfectly, each process will take about 15 minutes to go through all the patterns. Now, knowing that you have to go through this pattern at least 2 times, set aside at least an hour or 2. I would suggest doing this over the course of several days to give yourself adequate time, and in case you miss any tests, because it is very tricky. Alright, system ready tests are a pain in the ass, but I'm going to help you out. We're going to perform all 4 patterns in real time so that you know exactly when you need to stop, go, and maintain speed. This is going to be the easiest monitor setting you will ever have to do. I know the 240 is a pain in the ass to get ready, so let me make it easy for you. If you own a 240, this is the perfect video for you. I'm going to specifically focus on the S14. These cards are notorious for having a very difficult system ready test setup. It's not that these patterns are difficult, you just need to be very precise and patient. But I've eliminated the step of timing out by making this video for you. So all you have to do is follow the video 2 to 3 times and you should be able to pass this test. Alright, now when you're ready, get in your car, turn it on, and let it idle for a couple minutes. Pause the video and come back when you're ready. So since you let your car idle up to temp, you should be ready for pattern number 2. So get your car in position and let's get started. Alright, now steadily bring your car up to 50 to 55 miles an hour. When you get there, let it drop down to just below 50. Now bring it back up to 55. Let it drop down just a little bit below 50 again. And now bring it to 50 and hold. If you're on the highway, stay in the right lane and try and be as consistent as possible. You need to keep that speedometer at that speed. Now you will need to hold this for 3 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes may be excessive, but it's just to be safe. Alright, now you should have went through pattern 2. Bring your car to a stop and let's perform pattern 3. Pattern 3, you're going to hold at a stop for 10 seconds. Now you are going to have to perform this stop and go motion at least 2 to 3 times. Now that 10 seconds are up, you need to accelerate to 30 to 35 miles an hour over the course of about 10 seconds. Once you get up to speed, you need to hold 30 to 35 miles an hour for 20 seconds. Now that 20 seconds are up, slow the car over the course of 10 seconds to a complete stop and hold for 10 seconds. Now accelerate, bring the car up to speed over the course of 10 seconds. Once you get up to speed, hold the car for 20 seconds. Now that you held the car at speed, it's time to slow down to a stop over the course of 10 seconds. Stop and hold the car for 10 seconds. Now accelerate to 30 to 35 miles an hour over the course of 10 seconds. When you are up to speed, hold for 20 seconds. Now slow down to a stop over 10 seconds. Stop for 10 seconds. Accelerate for 10 seconds. Maintain speed for 20 seconds. With pattern 3, you're going to have to perform this at least 3 times. Doesn't hurt to do more. Now, after the car has been running for at least 12 minutes, we can start to perform pattern number 4. This one may be the hardest. Starting from a stop, you're going to accelerate to 50 to 55 miles an hour and hold. You need to maintain this speed for at least 3 minutes. Alright. Alright, now that... Alright, it's been over 3 minutes, so you should be able to come to a stop and shut off the car. Alright, so I just walked you through all 4 patterns. Alright, well, you should have passed the test at this point. So let me know what you thought of this video. If you found it helpful, I wish I had this for myself, but give me a comment down below or a thumbs up and subscribe. Help me out. This goes a long way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, do you have a Nissan 240SX? Maybe you live in a place like California, where you have to pass smog on a yearly basis. Well, to get your JDM goodness back on the road, so there's a couple steps you need to do to get your tofu box back on the road and get that sweet JDM machine moving along.